Okay,
So
let's do it.
Talk about Vero. Okay, now we got
Vero.
you greased up. Now you're ready to go.
I'm ready to go. So it was definitely not what I expected, but it was pleasant. So we ended up driving down. Like I said, it took us a few more hours than I thought it would take, and we go to check in, and it was nice because the best part about it, right, is I'm rocking my podcast shirt. So we go in. The person at the desk, wants to talk podcast for a little while, and then we get our room assignment. And we were doing a split stay just because I had made the mistake of waiting a little too long. My wife had come to me and she, because she does all the booking of the vacation. She's actually the DVC expert, in terms of booking. I can tell you that much. And she said, hey, they have something at Vero for 5 days. And I was like, let's wait a week. And then, we go back a week later, and then it's like, hey, they only have 4 days and it's a split stay. Whatever. So get our room, and I can tell you that, we were put on the third floor. And if you're not on the third floor, there pretty much is not an ocean view unless you're in one of the cottages. Now, that being said, these cottages could be the nicest DVC of even past, I think, any of the stuff that's on the water or anything like that in terms of the 3 bedrooms. I think they trump the tree houses, trump the whatever the things are at the Poly. And
wait, so were you at the tree? Wait, did you stay at one of the cottages or no?
No, but you can see them. They're right there. And they're also, the cool thing about them is they're separated, right? So kind of like you would do at the Poly thing, but they're right on the beach. Like they are on the beach. And I think that there is definitely this difference of, listen, not knocking what the Poly's got going on, but you're still on a lake, right? This is on the actual ocean. And I just don't think that there's much that competes with that in terms of being on the actual ocean. So we get a third floor, which again, the benefit of it is that you get to see out. I mean, not all the rooms look at the ocean, right? There are some that look the other way, which I guess is not all that great, but I'm trying to think, actually, you may have to look through other rooms to see the ocean in some of them. I don't think any actually face the highway, though. I wouldn't think in terms of the DVC stuff. So anyway, we go up there. The downside of that is, you're on the third floor. You have to get all your stuff up there, but they have the carts, which my kids are so funny. They ended up doing a whole Zach and Cody montage, Sweet Life, with the room carts, to bring our luggage in, the luggage carts. But that was pretty funny. So we bring our stuff up. The rooms were nice in comparison to what you see at Hilton Head. I think that they're a little bit nicer because of, I feel like there's an extra window, which doesn't seem like much, but makes a pretty big difference. So I think that the rooms are similar. The only downside was in Hilton Head, we got 2 beds in the second bedroom. And in this one, since we were in 2 different rooms, I can imagine that it's the same everywhere. It's a pull out a bed, bed in the master bedroom, and then a pull out couch again in the living room, and a pull out chair to get to your number, right?
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But the 2 bed situation would have probably been better, I think, because my kids were arguing about who was taking the bed and who wasn't. Since we had a split stay, they just split up, right? So that part at least wasn't so bad because they were able to kind of do that split. The resort, so let's talk about the resort first, I guess. So the resort is really nice because it's small. And that seems like counterproductive, right? Like, well, what's there, going on? It's really nice because there's not a lot of people there, and it never once felt crowded, even though it was obviously fully booked because, it was spring break. And when we tried to, get to stay in our same room, they're like, no, the place is booked, right? Like, there's no way. So I figure it was at max capacity, and it just doesn't feel like anything else that Disney has because there's not a lot of rooms. So there's not a lot of people there, and everything they have is bigger than Hilton Head. Like the pool is bigger, right? That sort of stuff is just larger. So it feels even just better. It feels better because it doesn't feel as many people there. So we ended up, the first night the boys went to the gym, which I think is called Anchors Away. There's a lot of beach theming, and there is minimal Disney theming. which is fine, right? There is the underground tunnel is Peter Pan themed, which is kind of cool, and there's music, but they went to the gym, and the gym was way nicer than the Hilton Head gym. And the cast members there are of a different breed, right? They, as everyone says down there, they're
at Hilton Head or Vero.
At Vero, they're
yeah.
It's not that they're nicer; they're just a little more chatty.
Yeah.
So everything feels nicer because they are a little bit chattier about it. Like, so when we first got there, we're kind of talking about the rules as I'm, kind of checking in, and I had asked, what's going on with the tennis courts, and, what are the hours of the tennis courts, and what are the hours of this, and what are the hours of that? And then, she's telling me, well, and she was just like, I said, so pretty much what you're telling me is just don't be an idiot. She's like, yeah, pretty much. Right. So like the tennis courts, you can go, but then they hit me with this, which was something that was worse than the Sharks, because it was legit. She's like, but she goes, I don't think I'd go over there late at night, especially by yourself, because there's a bobcat.
What?
Oh, okay.
What?
So the way that Vero is different than Hilton Head is Hilton Head, you have that long area, like it's far to get to the beach, or you drive. Like we drove over to the beach side, to be honest with you, when we were at Hilton Head. Here it's just a tunnel, so you can go over there whenever you want. So the first thing I had to tell the boys was like, look, stay on this side. Like if there's really obviously there's really a bobcat over there, right? Because they wouldn't tell me that.
They wouldn't just tell you that. Yeah.
So, and they weren't like, hey, there's a bobcat over there. They were like, hey, we have some wildlife over there. And I was like, oh, alligators? And they're like, well, yeah, but there's a bobcat. Okay.
But at least if you're playing tennis, you have a weapon to fight the bobcat off.
Dude, you're not fighting a bobcat. I thought the same thing. And then my kids were like, you're an idiot. You're not fighting a bobcat. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I'm not fighting a bobcat.
It's better than having nothing in your hands, though.
But it's even better just not going over there at night.
Well, there's that too. Yeah. There's that.
So the first night the boys worked out, and then we went to the beach. Now, the beach is different. It's not like a beach I've been to ever, to be honest with you. They said it wasn't like, again, I've never been to a Florida beach on that side, right on the Atlantic side. First of all, the water cold AF, like, nah, right?
Too early for it to be warmer.
Yeah, it was cold, man. Now, I listen, I went into my waist, and that was enough. But the way that shoreline goes is that, so you walk out to the beach, and there's sand, and then there's like a huge hill. Huge. I don't know. Like, you could definitely fall down this hill, and then it goes to the bottom where the water is, and that's all stone and shells. And then you walk out in the ocean, a few feet, and then there's another plateau, and that goes down a few feet. So like, it's a weird sort of setup because, at Hilton Head, again, I'm so familiar with Hilton Head. Hilton Head, one, the water's warm all the time, but two, you can kind of walk out there and like, kind of like, hey, I'm going a couple more inches. I'm going a couple more. This is like, you walk out there and it's like straight down. That was tough. So, I went in, like I said, to my waist, and then I'm like, nah, this feels a little too sharky for me. So I'm out, right? Like, I'm not about that, because it feels like that's perfect shark shoreline, right? Like,
yeah.
Because you're really only like 5 feet in the water, but it's already past your waist. It's like, anyway, I went in twice. So, we ended up going over to the beach though the first night and just kind of looking around. Now it is turtle season, so you can't use flashlights or anything. So it's super dark. But what's really, really cool is they don't use white lights at the resort because of the turtles. But what's really cool is if you go on the beach and look back towards the resort, you can take this really cool picture I found. Actually, it was good because I actually ended up bringing a real camera with me, because I was like, maybe I'll need a real camera. And you can look back, and it's kind of cool. It's like got this glow to the resort because you're on the pitch black beach. So we did that the first night. Like I said, the boys worked out. They overworked out, as we found out the next day. We went to the beach, and then the next day we got up and did a few things. So the one thing missing there, though, that I love at Hilton Head is the bocce lawn, which they do not have there. Now they do, you can play bocce on their actual, like, there's an area where they do like a movie night and stuff like that. You can play bocce there, but I think it's only certain times where, you have that dedicated one at Hilton Head. So the next day we got up, let me see what we did in the morning. I think we ate breakfast at Oh, well, and then the night before, let me just go back and say that we ended up eating at the Waves and whatever the place. And the food was very good, but the menu is very limited. That's the downside to that. And food will come up.
And Wave Grill. Winds and Waves Grill, yeah.
Yep. I had the bacon wrapped pork. I mean, it was pretty good, right? Like on lentils and black beans. It was good. But like, there's not a lot to eat there. I did eat way more Dole Whips than I've ever eaten in my life, though. So
is that a good thing?
I mean, maybe, I'm not sure. So that's what we did the first night. We all went to bed, and then the next night we went up and went to the beach. And the cool thing about the beach is it really is very nice shell hunting beach, right? Like you can find all sorts of shells. And what's kind of cool about it, they do have some shell painting stuff, but what also is pretty neat about the shells is that a lot of them are smoothed down, just from the constant waves and kind of the way the waves break on them because of that shoreline. So like I found one really good shell turned worry stone, which was really neat. And then my daughter was trying to find one the whole entire time we were there, but she came home with 3 bags full of shells. Like there are shells galore and they're in great condition. You know what I mean? Like they're not broken up. That part of it was really nice. So we went to the beach that day, kind of hung out there, and then we came back and played mini golf. And the mini golf is okay. Like it's 9 holes. It's small, but it's well kept. And I lost the first time by 1, which was fine. The second time that we played was a whole different thing. I was more annoyed with myself. I was up by like 4, and I was beating my middle one because I don't think my oldest came with us. It was just me, my middle one, my daughter, and my wife. And we were playing, and I was up by, like I said, 4 by the last hole. And the last hole is this one that has kind of a treasure chest with a hole in it. And you have to put it in there, and then it goes down, and you don't have to return the ball, right? And I kind of tried to Jordan him, and I was up by so much. I just was looking at him instead of the hole, taunting him while I was hitting it. And then I just totally missed by like a millimeter, but because I missed by a millimeter, it bounced far back. And then when I hit it back in again, it bounced out of the hole because I had a bad angle. Like it was a disaster. I ended up losing by 1. Don't even get me started. But the course is pretty nice, right? And for DVC members, it's free. So that part of it was pretty good. Yep. So we did that. And then we did the pool. The pool is nice because the water slide is way bigger than the Hilton Head or Saratoga slide. Yeah, it's way bigger than that. And the pool is just, the shape of it is, I think it's like the pseudo Mickey shape, I feel like they said, or I don't know, but it's
kind
pretty
of Mickey-ish.
Big. Yeah, it's pretty big. And honestly, unless you're going in the middle of the day, it kind of clears out pretty well. And the water slide was open till 9 and the pool stays open till 10, I think. I think it's something like that. Or the water slide's 8 and the pool's 9. I don't know, but there's an hour difference in there. And we ended up doing the pool. I did not go on the water slide that night, but everyone else, excluding my wife, obviously we know her, and water slides, that was never going to happen. So we ended up doing that night. And I guess that was Monday. That was really just a beach. Oh, we played tennis as well. So I played way too much tennis for my own good. So before that was, the pool was at night. So now I'm going to have to take a step back and kind of go to what we did during the day. So we went over to the tennis courts during the day, and the courts are nice. There's 2 courts over there. There's basketball. And I would say that you can rent a basketball and things like that, but the basketball court is pretty nice. It's a half court, but it's well kept. It's not like the Hilton Head one that's like a cage match and isn't really in great condition. This one is really nice. So you walk under a tunnel, right? The whole resort is easily walkable. You walk under this tunnel that goes under the highway, and that's themed like Peter Pan is playing Peter Pan music. And you just walk under there and you go over to where the tennis court is and stuff like that. There's also a soccer field, which is not very well kept. The grass was a little high. The weeds were a little high, but there's 2 goals, which is also kind of neat. And that's over by the cast. You can kind of see the cast building over there as well. So we played tennis that day, and then we went back later, and I think I think because me and my daughter played tennis, and then my wife went back later. She played tennis with my daughter. I played soccer with the boys, this was all way too much for me in that one day. Like, I was exhausted. And that must have been Monday. And again, we weren't there that long. On Tuesday, what we decided to do was we were switching rooms on Tuesday, and we did the Botanical Gardens. That was pretty cool. So there, what was that, like half an hour away, 40 minutes away, 30 minutes away? I don't know. It was between 20 and 40 minutes. I don't even remember at this point. And it used to be one of the biggest, well, it used to be the biggest attraction in Florida before, Walt Disney World. And it used to be like 110 acres. Now it's only like 4.
Oh, wow.
But what's kind of cool, they had a dinosaur exhibit going on there, and you could find, the dinosaurs. And so what my boys did is they made sure they found every dinosaur, took 0.5s at each of the dinosaur locations, and then made a video with Jurassic Park music and theming. So, but the gardens were beautiful. I think it cost us like $68 for everybody, which was, more expensive than it should have been, but not the worst, right? To go there once. And I got some really great pictures there as well. There was some really cool sculptures. There's some art sculptures there. And there was just a lot that me and my middle one watched a video about how there used to be like monkeys there, like back in the day, and they just used to roam with the monkeys. And that would have been probably crazy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but that was worth doing something. Here's the biggest problem at Vero. And as we come to find this out that night, was the restaurants are all not good. In terms of
the problem, yeah.
Well, and not that they're not good in terms of food quality, even though like they're just not good in terms of kind of offering multiple things.
Okay.
So what happened is that, the first night we, went to Waves and whatever. And the second night, we ate breakfast, in the morning. And then so at lunch, we did beach bites, which is, you can pretty much see it from Disney's resort, but you can't really walk there. So you got to get in a car. It's just a sandwich shop, a deli, but it was pretty good. I had a muffaletta, it was fine, right? Not New York style, but like it was good for down there. We had that for lunch. And then for dinner, we're like, what are we doing? Now, this is also Monday night. There's not a lot of restaurants open. So there is this place called the Taco Dive, which was really, really good. But every restaurant's like, they're 20 minutes away. There's nothing really close. Everything's like 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
So that, and again, we couldn't agree on anything because it's very difficult. Like we found a spot, but then that wasn't open. And then, we ended up going to Taco Dive, which was fine. But my wife wanted seafood. You can't, the thing that's tough is you can't get seafood and then other things, right? It's like you can get seafood in just a straight up chicken sandwich the seafood places have, or you can go to a place that doesn't have a lot of seafood and has other things, but there's not this match of like, hey, my wife wants scallops and, we want something else. It's not really how it works there, unfortunately. So we ate at the Taco Dive, which was, like I said, very good that night. Came back, polished off some key lime Dole Whips, good to go. And then, like I said,
That's delicious, by the way. I love a good key lime.
Key lime Dole Whip was pretty good, but I think the pineapple vanilla still was better. That was the consensus. So then the next day after that, we decided to rent bikes and do the jungle trail, I guess it's called. And that was fun, but man, I get why they have to charge for bike rental, but it just seems like give me that DVC for free for an hour. You know what I mean? Like, I get like that they do it, I think, just to keep people from, over renting maybe. But like, give me the first hour free, I feel like would have been great as a DVC perk. Cause there are DVC perks for rentals of stuff, right? And cost of stuff. It is cheaper if you're a DVC member to rent a bike, but I feel like you could have gotten the first hour for free for, it would have been fine. But anyway, we did the jungle trail. So that was just the 4 of us. My wife did not do that. She took a walk somewhere else. I feel like, she doesn't really love to bike. So we did that and that was pretty fun. But the thing is, it's like this sand trail and it goes by the water, which is cool, but it can also have cars on it. So you kind of have to be, a little bit careful. And you access that by leaving the Disney resort and then like making a, 4 lefts and then you're there. So it's not in the resort itself. You have to actually go out of the resort to do that. But that was fun. I think the food was the biggest problem. Just didn't love the way the food situation, it's 20 minutes away. And there's literally, like I said, there's one thing I would have eaten at the resort, and the resort food was not cheap. It was definitely not cheap. And the quick serve is just, I mean, I'm on vacation. I'm not trying to do quick serve. You know what I mean? Like, that's just me. I'm not trying to do quick serve. So, you know, that part of it with the restaurants was a little disappointing. I think the beach was fine. The only other thing with the beach that was kind of funny is, so, you know, we go to the beach one of the other days and, you know, my son comes home, he showers, and, you know, he's 16. It's not like, you know, he's, you know, young. And, you know, I happened to be over on their side of the, you know, the room. And I was like, yeah, why'd you throw away your swim trunks? He's like, dude, smell them. And I was like, hold on a second. Like, what? So the problem is that while there was no jellyfish there, we had no problems with that.
Yeah.
The seaweed was
seaweed
a little bit in full force, but for whatever reason, that seaweed was the stinkiest seaweed ever in the world. And he's like, these are ruined. I'm not wearing these ever again. I was like, dude, there's laundry in our room. Like, we can do laundry. But I'll tell you, it took 2 washes to unstinkify them. Like, the seaweed there was, it was, like I said, it wasn't like attacking you, right? Like dragging you under, but it smelled really, really bad. Really bad. And bug bite wise, we did Skin So Soft, right? And then I also had purchased some natural bug spray, you know, and I got 1 bite. And the only reason I got it is because that was the last day and it was the bike ride day. And I was like, I'm not putting on any spray in my arms. I put it on my ankles because I was wearing compression pants just because I always do when I bike. And I didn't get any down there, but I forgot to put it on my arm. So I got 1 bite. The boys, none of them got any bites. My daughter got 2 bites, and it was the day that she forgot to spray herself as well. But we sprayed, like I said, with a natural bug repellent with just, you know, essential oils, and it worked fine for us. They do have the non-DEET, whatever that chemical is, starts with a P. It's got a long name to it. I don't remember what it is.
Yeah, I know.
They have that all over the resort, though. Like, you just pump, like, they have the big gallon things of it. You can just pump it out left and right if that's what you want to do. But for us, like I said, we used the natural stuff. It was fine. And, you know, we had no issues with bugs. And we also have that bite away zapper thing, which is great. So, you know, we did that. But like I said, I have 1 bite and not even that bad. And it was my own fault. Because if I had sprayed, you know, that one day I would have been fine. So overall, I probably wouldn't go again. Like, I overdid it. I think this is the first trip also since, like I said, I know I had surgery so long ago, but I tell you, like, I didn't do a lot of exercising stuff until this trip, right? So I don't normally play tennis twice a day, like, competitively. And it's not like I was going out and hitting the ball with my daughter. It was like, no, we were playing round robin, like everyone for themselves, like full tennis tournaments every day. Oh, and it got to be a lot. Like, I was really tired every night, but I didn't, there wasn't a lot to do. Like, that was the knock. Like, and the food wasn't good enough to sit around and chill. Like, that was the other thing. Like, they had a pool table you could have rented. They did, you know, cornhole. They had some ping pong stuff. The slide races are pretty fun, right? Like, to do them, but there wasn't a lot to do. But it's a different vibe than Hilton Head, because even if there's not a lot to do in Hilton Head, the food is a million times better. That makes it a little bit different. And I think that was really the thing that I didn't love about it, but it was fine. And I tell you, not having that bocce seems like it's so, like, it shouldn't be a big deal. It was a big deal because we did that a lot. Like, I mean, how many times are you going to play mini golf? We played twice, and I was like, okay. And if we were going to book it the first time, we would have been there an extra day. And I don't think anyone would have wanted to be there an extra day. It wasn't like we were disappointed by the trip, because it wasn't that. And it was gorgeous looking, right? I mean, sleeping in a room where you can hear the ocean and just walk out on the balcony and see it is great, because you cannot do that at Hilton Head. And that part of it is very nice. And the pool was great. Loved the pool, lifeguards. Everyone there was just nice. Like the one night, because, my son's always in the middle of the season. He really doesn't have a break. Their swim break was 2 weeks ago. So he went to the pool. Like my wife had said something like, hey, cause there's no lapse lane lines there for that pool. There is in Hilton Head on the pool over on the beach side. So he was able just to swim laps there. But, the lifeguard's like, hey, look, come back at, 6, 7, maybe. And he was like, no, come back like around 7 or 8. He goes, and you can swim here because there'll be nobody there. And there was nobody there. And I didn't know where everyone was. Like one night there was a movie. I mean, maybe there was 30 people there. Another night they did s'mores and campfire songs, the weirdest songs I've ever heard. We were making fun because it was like, what are they even talking about? They're ridiculous songs. But, and there's stuff during the day, like seashell painting, archery. There's just not a lot. Like, do I want to make a bag? Do I want to paint seashells? No, not really.
Yeah.
I could see this as a great 2-day thing if you're going to the parks. Like, so we did see a lot of people from Ontario, right? So if you're coming down for, let's say, 2 weeks and you're like, yeah, I need a park break, 2 or 3 days, probably not a bad thing to kind of come and not do much. But for us, since it was our trip, it seemed like I wish there was more to do, but the botanical gardens were nice. So, I mean, overall, it was definitely somewhere where I wanted to go. And the beach was nice. Like I said, the other thing about the beach, which is kind of cool, is that Hilton Head, the beaches are not private there, right? This one's private. So like there's no one really there. Like the beach was not crowded. Now Hilton Head, like 10, 15 years ago was great, but now that everyone goes, like it's way more crowded. This was not as crowded, and you can rent beach chairs and stuff like that. And because it's Disney's own beach right there, they set everything up for you. You don't have to do anything.
That's
but
nice.
I would say that if I was to go again and drive, I would have brought my own beach chairs, which I should have just done. I don't know why I didn't even think about that. Would have brought a basketball. I mean, we brought all our own tennis stuff. I probably would have brought ping pong paddles, because why not? Like, why do I want to go rent them all the time? But anyway.
I'm kind of surprised you didn't bring all that stuff. Just knowing
I didn't really think we brought tennis because we knew we'd be playing a lot of tennis, right? Thank goodness we did, because that would have been a disaster if we hadn't. But I would have brought a basketball, I think. Oh, we did bring a soccer ball though, because you only think about so much stuff. Yeah. Because I thought there'd be, again, not that there wasn't a lot to do, but there wasn't a lot to do. My son, of course, as everything, my oldest one, we're like, we get there, right? And he's 18 now, so it's kind of like, pack your own stuff, dude. We get there, he's like, yeah. I was like, what? He's like, guess what I forgot? And I'm like, what could he have forgot, right? Like, what? Yeah, I don't have a bathing suit. Oh, dude, are you kidding me? Like, you don't have a bathing suit? So we go to the store there, right? And then as I talk to the, hey, bathing suit, she's like, oh, yeah, over there. And I was like, yeah, my son's a 28. Like, my kids are like, they look like Ken dolls. You know what I mean? Like they have like, he's got a 28-inch waist, like, and he's jacked. Like that's not 32, not going to cut it. Like, I wear a 32, and like, he was like, dude, I cannot fit in your suit. So they were nice. And they're like, hey, go to this place. There was a surf shop, right? So, I was like, oh, okay, we're going to be paying a lot, but he got a nice suit, right? So he ended up having to get a suit, but that was the only thing I think we kind of, forgot in terms of going somewhere. So yeah, like I said, I mean, I'm glad we went, but no one on the trip was like, hey, we should come back here again. It was kind of just like, yeah, okay, it was fine. Like, it was good. Like, okay. And that was it, right? Like, we got some good pictures. We had some fun family time. Like, we did a lot of things together, played a heck of a lot of tennis, and I can play tennis here though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the beach was, listen, I didn't love the beach, but in terms of shell hunting, my daughter and wife loved that part of it. My daughter loved the shell hunting. Oh my goodness. And we got some ridiculously cool stuff. So they did enjoy that part of it. And, the beach was nice because it wasn't crowded. So there was that. And again, maybe when it was less cold, it would have been more fun. Oh, and the other thing too is, should have brought boogie boards. I mean, they're like, shark saltines, but other than that, like
shark saltines.
They would have been, something you wouldn't have had to rent. And since you're driving, like that would have been something I probably would have brought. So it would have been chairs, some boogie boards and stuff like that. I had originally thought I was going to bring like bocce ball to the beach or that game rollers or something like that. Like, yeah, you just can't do that on this beach. It's just not that sort of beach. So, but like I said, overall fine.
I guess there's some people that just like to sit on the beach all day too, right? Like, it don't need to do tennis and basketball.
Yeah, but the thing is if you're sitting on the beach, you got to sit kind of up top where like you're not gonna. Down below is like rocky and stuff, like shelly. Like you're not like hanging out down there. Like, my son comes home maybe the first night, he's like, my legs are like messed up from like all the shells and the waves hitting them with the shells. The waves come with the shells. Like, so if a wave hits you, it's not like it's a wave of water. It's a wave of like shells and water.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean, if you were just going to sit on the beach all day, yeah, sure. Totally. But it didn't even have that vibe. Like, there wasn't a lot of that going on. And then there was people that are kayaking out there, and I was just like, no. And then to boot, there's a guy that must have been like a good, let's call him 20 foot in. Okay. Now look, it had to even be farther than that. Let's call him 25 to 30 foot in. Now in Hilton Head, 25 to 30 foot in is nothing, right? Because gosh, man, that might be up to my kneecaps, honestly. This dude was swimming like he was open water swimming, parallel to the beach, like out in, no way. Absolutely no way whatsoever. And then there are people out there kayaking. I mean, that seems a little bit better, but this dude was just open water swimming. And I was like, yeah, no.
Yeah, it's crazy. No, no thanks. I'm good. I just can't get over shark saltine. That's the memes make themselves. I get it. I mean, I've heard some of those things, like about the dining piece, and like, truth be told, Hilton Head really only has the resort itself only has that one like little quick service, but there's tons of dining around.
But here's the thing: you can literally walk out of Hilton Head.
Yeah.
Into that area. What is that, shipyard there? I forget. Where is it? Yeah.
Yeah, that whole shopping center that's right there. Yeah.
Yeah, and you have places to eat where that's not the case here. Even the thing, it's funny, you look on the, on Google and it's like, oh, Beach Bites is 400 feet away, but you can't get there unless you get in a car.
Yeah. Like, I get you. Yeah, no, I mean, I've heard some of that about Vero, but
yeah, but I definitely, like I said, I've always wanted to go, so it was fine going, and I'm sure I'll make my way down there again at some point. Because I did see that there, again, spring break week. So there was some older kids there, doing stuff, you know what I mean? Like, and I guess it would be like kind of a, if you're like 21, like probably a good kind of hang out, drink a little bit sort of resort. I feel like they had, there's some good drinks.
Myself
there.
Of like a 21-year-old college student be like, where are you going for spring break? Disney's Vero Beach, yo. You're like, you know what I mean? Like, that's such an odd place for them to want to go. Like, I mean, I know everyone I knew like spring break was going to like Cancun, like.
Yeah, but sometimes they like the low key stuff.
Well, think about it like this. Like, if my kids are like, hey, we're going somewhere over spring break, and I'm like, dude, just take my points, right?
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. I can see that.
So there is that.
That's cheaper than going to Cancun.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, if you know someone with DVC, it might make more sense than spending a bunch of money in Cancun.
Anyway, I never got to do those trips, but anyway. Well, I'm glad you were able to summon the energy after exhausting.
You had me all irritated with your talk about the raffle. So that was the virtual queues. The virtual queues got me amped up. So
okay, I'm good. All right, well,
but that's it though. I mean, I'm done now.
You got it all out. You got it all out there.
Yeah, we appreciate you sharing the experience. So yeah. No, that was good.
Yeah.